So, what the Kremlin can claim as a victory versus what is actually achieved on the battlefield are two different things. Obviously, regardless of the outcome of these next few weeks to months of fighting, Vladimir Putin and the Kremlin will say they won to their people, regardless. And if May 9th is the dedicated date, that gives really Putin one shot to do a massive attack, which he probably will do. But that's only a few weeks away from now, and I just don't think they have the power to do anything there. I mean, the extent of the arms that have come into Ukraine is astounding. I mean, they've received 30,000 anti-tank weapons. Russia's only got like 13,000 tanks in its whole military. I get it. Ukrainians will target BMPs and other armored vehicles as well, but that's staggering. The new supply of S-300s coming in are going to play a part. They're getting T-72 tanks that are going to be very effective. Also, many drones from the U.S. and Turkey, small arms fire, etc. This will probably add up to become the largest military battle since the end of World War II. But in many respects, it's a no-win situation for Putin. Even given the arms that will be stacked against him in the coming days, Putin can still effectively gain ground, unleashing fully the armed forces of Russia using bombers, missiles, and just try to attrit the Ukrainians to a level that they have to kind of gain or give ground. But the same calculus held true now as it did in Kyiv. The logistics lines, although shorter, could still pose a problem. They're still making column movements into the areas. It's a built-up defended area by Ukraine, and the whole world sees what Russia's doing. So likely the Ukrainians are going to be able to react. But it's not that Ukraine has a guaranteed victory here. There's really no way to win against Russia, even though we might say it's possible. The fact of the matter is Kyiv doesn't have the firepower to expel Russia from territory it took over the last 6-8 years. And even with newer platforms coming in, they need to get trained on those. And until that training comes up, this fight's going to largely devolve into a frozen conflict along the Russian border. And that's going to become very bloody. It's going to be a very terrible situation, and unfortunately, I think the world may become indifferent because an insurgency can quietly just kind of fade to the background. What we'll likely see is a lot of heavy fighting with no clear winner. Russia just can't seem to apply the effective combat power it needs to win, but Ukraine, even though it has the knowledge, just doesn't have the total firepower to completely eject Russia from Ukraine, to include Crimea. So, and frankly, I think Moscow's perfectly fine with that. They may fight to a stalemate and say they've claimed victory and leave it all alone for nothing.